everyone, welcome back to another video. I've got a tie-in video for you today, but this is a real fun one because this is my first Umpqua Signature pattern that I'm going to tie for you today. This fly is available in Umpqua's catalog for the year. You should be able to go to your local fly shop and pick it up if they've got it in stock. So I'm pretty excited about the fly, and it's in the catalog, but I thought I would take some time to tie it for you and then also kind of talk to you guys about, why I created this fly and what I like about the fly. Okay, so like I said, I would give you a few reasons why I like this fly. The first being that it's an attractor pattern, and I know I probably sound like a broken record on this. I'm always harping on it, but I like flies that can represent a lot of different things in the water, and that makes our lives as a fly angler a little bit easier, right? Because we don't have to get the fly necessarily down to the exact species, exact hatching moment, right? It can be a lot of different things all in one. So that's kind of the first reason that I like this fly. The second reason that I like it is that because it's an attractor and it represents a lot of different things, it has a tendency to work year round, right? You can fish it in all seasons and it still works. So those are kind of the two main reasons that I like this fly. So stay tuned to the end of the video if you're interested in the materials, because I'm gonna talk through them at the end and kind of explain why I chose them and go through all the materials and give you guys an overview of that at the end. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. We're gonna tie it right now. I hope to hear some positive things back from you guys if you get out on the water and fish it. I'd love to know down below in the comments what you think of it, and if you've tied it yourself. So yeah, let's get into tying it and see what it's all about. Okay, so in the vise, I have a size 14 Umpqua Purdy Jig hook. I'm gonna start my thread right behind where the bead is. Get that bead to sit on there properly. I'm gonna come in and make a few wraps behind the bead just to kind of secure that in. And then I'm gonna run my thread all the way back to where the barb on the hook would be. So all the way back to there, just about perfect. Now I'm gonna take a piece of barred sexy floss right here. So I just cut off one leg from a pack. We're gonna use this for the tail. So I'm gonna come in and just kind of attach this leg to the side of the fly, and then I'm gonna take it, wrap it over to the other side, and use it for the other tail on the other side. So we want kind of a forked tail on this. And then we're gonna come in and just kind of trim this off. And we can trim those up at the end. So you can see we kind of have a V here because we have one on one side and one on the other. And there's a tail there with two. So that's how we want that to sit, just like this. And if it's not perfect, you can kind of, these crazy legs, these silly legs, they kind of just go everywhere, which is kind of what you want them to do. So we're gonna run back up behind the bead, and we're going to take a piece of amber wire. We're going to take our amber wire and we're going to push it right up in behind that bead, lash it down with a few turns, and then we're going to take 3 peacock herl fibers. We're going to put those 3 peacock herl fibers together, and we're going to trim just the tips so they're even. We're going to come in here and we're going to attach those, and we're going to run the peacock herl and the wire down to the back all at the same time, and then come back forward over this. The taper, you don't really have to worry about the taper of the body on this fly. It can be level, doesn't really matter that much, I have found. We're gonna take those 3 peacock herl fibers or strands, and we're gonna wrap those in touching turns all the way forward to directly behind the bead, just like this, and then capture those. Trim off those peacock herl, and then we're going to wrap this away from us. So we're going to take that wire, we're going to make a ribbing that counterwraps that peacock herl, and then we're going to wrap it away from us. And that counterwraps it, and it really locks in that peacock herl, because peacock herl can break pretty easily, and so we want to just make that as tough as possible. So now I just twirled off that wire, broke it off, a couple more wraps to make sure it's okay. We're gonna take that same sexy floss and we're gonna tie in our other legs now. Our front legs, not our tail. So we're gonna take that and we're gonna tie it in on the near side to us again, just like how we did for the tail. So you can see it's on this side. And then we're gonna loop it around. We're gonna make a loop. We're gonna capture it just like this on the other side. So you can see it's on this side and it's on this side. So it's on both sides and there's a loop. Just leave the loop for now and we'll do the rest of the fly and then we'll cut those legs at the end. So now the next step is to take a dubbing tool like this and we're gonna make a dubbing loop here. So we're crisscrossing our thread, making that loop, right? So you can see I have a loop with the tool, just like that. And we're gonna bring our thread forward behind the bead, set that aside, and we're going to take a CDC feather, just like this. We're gonna come in here, we're only gonna use half of it. We're gonna come in here and we're gonna cut the tip off. So now the tip's gone, we're gonna use one side of the CDC fiber, or feather, I should say. Let's get this untwisted real quick. We're gonna open up that loop and we're gonna put those fibers straight up like that. So now we've got our feather captured in that loop. We're gonna come in, trim that off, and spin this up. Just like this. Then we'll take our tool, Velcro, and we will pick out those fibers so that we have lots of loose fibers here. Okay, so now we've got our CDC loop here. We're gonna make one wrap over. We're gonna pull this leg forward, wrap up, this leg over, and basically we're gonna make one wrap behind those legs, make the rest of the wraps in front, and then we're gonna come in front. We're gonna lift up this loop here, come in front like that, and then capture that dubbing loop with our thread so that we can trim it off. So now we've got our CDC wrapped on. We're gonna come in, trim off the loop, just like that. Preen everything back with our fingers, make a few more securing wraps. So then we're gonna come in with some shrimp pink ice dub. Just a little bit of this goes a long ways. So we're gonna dub on a noodle of this, and we're gonna build up just a little hot spot, a little bit too much there, behind the bead. Take our whip finish tool, hold everything out of the way, whip finish right behind the bead, really cinch that down to make sure it's in there nice and tight, and come in and trim off our thread. So at this point the fly is almost done, but we got to trim it up to make it look nice. So we'll trim off that tail, make it a little bit shorter, come in and break these legs apart. So now we've got two legs on each side. We're going to push these forward, and just like the tail, we want those to be about the same length as the body. Come in and trim those off all at once, just like that. And if one of them is slightly too long, you can trim it up, but I like them long because then it gives lots of movement. And that is your finished fly. I usually leave the CDC fibers on this a little bit longer. I won't necessarily trim those or pinch them off. I like the way it looks, and I think it fishes just great that way. It gives the fly lots of movement. But that's your finished Bizarro Jerry, and it works great. Get out there in the water and fish it. Okay, so you guys just saw me tie that fly, and I thought that I would talk a little bit about the tools and the materials used for it. First up is the bobbin. This is an Umpqua bobbin that I absolutely love, but bobbins are personal, so use whichever one you prefer for it. Next up is this dubbing loop spinner. This is a super cheap dubbing loop spinner that I got years ago that I've just been using for a really long time. It's heavy, these are pliable, and so they'll expand and then pull tight when you pull on them, which is important, and it works great. Been using it for a really long time. The most important tool I think from that fly that we just tied is the Stonfo dubbing like Velcro brush. This tool is awesome. You can use any Velcro, it doesn't have to be this tool. I do find this tool is a little bit easier to work with than something homemade, but it works great. And to pick out that CDC and things like that when you need it, that's awesome. I like just general all-purpose scissors. These are 4-inch scissors with a super fine point. And then about the world's cheapest whip finisher. I've had this thing for years. I think it was $4. Those are the tools. The materials we use. Start out with the hook, which is an Umpqua Purdy Jig size 14. I'll also use a size 12 for this fly. This is a newer hook from Umpqua. Absolutely love it. Works great. Super sharp. Kind of a bomb-proof hook. Super awesome. Then the thread. This is a Simperfly 12-aught nano silk in red. Killer fly. You can just wrench down on your flies. Make sure things are real tight and secure with this stuff. It's real awesome, and the red color is really cool because it adds contrast to the dubbing. So the dubbing is a shrimp pink hotspot ice dub. You can use a bunch of different colors. That's the color for this fly that I really like. The wire, so the counter rib on this fly for the segmentation is amber small ultra wire. Super awesome, love this color. And we're using a 3.5mm tungsten slotted bead from Hannock. I've also will tie this fly with the inverted tungsten beads from Umpqua. They work really well as well. Using that. And I think this is a metallic pink color, but silver and copper would be my other colors for the bead. Then the legs and the tail, Barred Sexy Floss Olive Small. This stuff is super cool. It lasts a really long time. It doesn't break down in your box. Works awesome. Lastly, we have Natural Dun CDC. It's important that it's the Natural Dun color. That's my favorite color for a lot of my nymphs. I think it just looks the most natural in the water and seems to fish the best for me. This is Hairline. I really like Trout Hunter as well. And then for the body, Strung Peacock Herl. You could use any peacock herl. It doesn't have to be this specific one. I've had this bag of peacock herl for like 5 years. Stuff lasts for a really long time. And it has a magical quality on flies. I love it. It works really well. So those are the materials. And hope you enjoyed that video. Subscribe if you can. Thanks.